Everyone, I'm going to try and show you some of the modifications that I've done to my Lee Pro 1000 reloading press. Some of the modifications I saw other people do on YouTube, and some of them, a few of them, are my own modifications. One of the ones that is a lot of people have done and has YouTube videos is restricting the size of the bullet feeder collator tray on the top. If you restrict the size of the holes a little bit, it eliminates cases occasionally going in the case feeder tubes upside down. This I saw on eBay. I did the modification. It does help. It does, however, slow down filling the tubes a little bit. Overall, it's a good modification in my opinion. One of the very common things that people dislike about the Pro 1000 are primer feed problems. Kind of a nagging thing with Pro 1000s. If you look down here on the side of the primer trough, there's a little rod. As you raise and lower the rod, or raise and lower the press ram, that rod rides over these three rings in the rear upright of the press. I took a Dremel tool and cut a couple of extra notches and 4 extra notches in that upright, so that instead of the primer trough being bounced only 3 times on each stroke, it's being bounced 7 times. So another problem a lot of people have, and with Lee, is the primer tray. After you load the primer tray and you go to put it on the primer trough, it has a tendency to spill primers all over the place. I took a coping saw and I cut 2 slots in the top of the primer tray so that I can have a little tab that I can squeeze. Once the primer tray is filled up, I can squeeze that tab and block the exit, block primers from falling out of the tray until I put the primer tray back onto the primer trough, and then I can release it and the primers would fall down the trough, of course. Another problem people seem to have problem with is the powder return chain. The normal powder return chain on the Lee Pro 1000 with auto disc is a real light chain. And it breaks very easily. So what I did is I went to the hardware store, I got some heavier chain, I attached it to the bottom through the hole where the original factory chain would go. I used an S-hook. Then I cut the length, making sure to leave a couple of extra links on the chain, just so there's some adjustability. I went and got a spring and attached the spring to the return arm of the powder measure. When the powder measure arm is up, after it drops powder in a case, this system does pull the return arm down very diligently. I haven't had any failures of that yet. I have a bullet feeder that optional, and you can add to your 1000, or you can also add it to the Lee Loadmaster. The bullet feeder is a pretty good option. It doesn't save a lot of time, however. It takes you almost as long to fill the tube on the bullet feeder as it does to place a bullet individually on a case. I didn't like the fact that it took so long, so it worked fine, but I didn't like the fact that it took so long and I wasn't saving that much time. So I bought a Hornady bullet collator, which is normally supposed to go to a bullet feed die, but because the Lee turret, or the Lee Pro 1000, only has a room for 3 dies, I couldn't put a bullet feed die in, so I connected it to the tube of the Lee bullet feeder. So I'm connecting the Hornady to the Lee bullet feeder, and I've got it set up so that it does not run constantly. Once the tube of bullets fills up to this point, it hits a limit switch and it turns the feeder off. The normal situation with the Hornady bullet feeder is there's just a plug and an on-off switch. It will keep running constantly, and it is very noisy. I'll turn it on just for a second and bypass the limit switch so you can hear how noisy it is. Well, I thought I would. There we go. I turn it back off now, and right now I've got this set up for the bullet feeder to run 2 ways. There's 2 positions. I've got position 1, which is an amber light, and if it's in that position, it will automatically shut off when the bullet feed tube is filled up to the height of this limit switch. If I turn the switch to position 2, the green light the green light comes on. The green light will come on, and the bullet feeder will run continuously. Because it's so noisy, I wanted to utilize the limit switch, and it seems to be working out pretty well. The only problem I had was getting the actual little lever on the limit switch adjusted just right. I had to do a lot of bending and rebending and all that sort of thing.